Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Bedford County Sports Talk Live. I'm David Thomas, Mr. Bill Anderson to my left, Mr. Kenny, I think it's Kenny Parker.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man.
Yeah,
The weather was bad
last
last
week
week.
you didn't make it because of all the snow and everything, so it's good to have you back.
They drive in Green Bay, drive back from Green Bay, but can't get down his own driveway.
I know it's pretty
Hey,
bad.
I like to found a ditch going home. So I said, you keep that big behind on the hill.
All right. Well, that's one excused absence.
Thank you.
All right. We want to thank our sponsors this morning: First Bank, Corner Cleaners, and Kincaid.
Service company.
All here in Shelbyville. First Bank is out on Madison Street. Go by, check out Brent Kennedy and his guys. They'll take care of all your banking needs. Also, Kincaid Service Company on Madison Street. Been here for years and years and years. One of the oldest businesses in Shelbyville, and service is their middle name, Bill.
Absolutely.
Can't beat them. Then we've got Corner Cleaners and Miss Susie Johnson out on North Main Street. She'll take care of all your dry cleaning needs, pressing, washing. She does it all, and she also rents you a tux if you have to go to a wedding or another highfalutin event.
Prom's coming up soon.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, guys, it's been a little while since our kids have played here in Bedford County, high school wise. They got back into action after this snow break. And let's talk just for a second what that does to these kids and the teams and how it kind of compacts the season all down into a couple of weeks now.
Well, it does that for basketball. Wrestling is big right now. Today is sectional wrestling. And while I'm talking about that, Cascade had hosted the region at their place Thursday night, and they came in second. So it's going to be the first time a Bedford County team has ever made it to the sectionals in wrestling. They go to station camp today and wrestle at 11. They've got the number one wrestler in the state in their division at 138 pounds, Vaden Moore, and then Isaac Choppa, we've talked about. He's wrestling at the 190. He's fourth in the state.
Right.
And they had a kid, I believe he's a senior, Hayden Dow.
Right.
Monday last week at Eagleville, won his 100th match.
So they played last week. They wrestled in the snow?
They wrestled.
Not in the snow, but
they went to Eagleville and wrestled on Monday. And then Thursday, it was district and regions, and I'm pretty sure Cascade they hosted that. I was a little ticked off at myself because I didn't make that one, but they're headed to station camp today at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so we got wrestling going in the tournament time now.
Oh,
this
is sectional, so winners of these go to the state.
They advance on. Okay, so we got basketball, which we were in the meat of our conference. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess your region, or I guess it's district in basketball, and right in the meat of that schedule. And we have this long break of snow, and the rules on most of these schools, I think, is if you're out of school, you're not playing sports.
That
in basketball,
a lot of that goes back to the school, to the principals, superintendents, depend on where you're going and the conditions of the road.
It's a discretionary thing.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you got, I know Columbia and Shelbyville were going to play, and I think Shelbyville agreed to go to Columbiaville, isn't that right?
That's
and
what
they ended up not going.
Columbia just wasn't going to play.
All right. So you got some scores for us because we're trying to get back in the swing, and then we got a bunch of catch-up games. So what do you got on score-wise?
Well, Coffee County and Shelbyville, and I think there was two tough losses last night for the boys and the girls. I had Coach T at 40-33 Coffee County girls. But Shovel boys, 56-53. They were in the game. They would make runs where it looked like they were going to pull away from them and just couldn't hit free throws and hit shots. And the free throws were a problem.
In close games, that's what makes or breaks.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, almost any game. I mean, if you lose.
But I'll say this, they're still playing hard.
That's the key.
They're playing hard.
Yeah. When we talked to Coach early in the season, we knew it was going to be a rebuilding process.
Yep.
And when you're rebuilding, you've got to play close games. And a lot of times you're going to lose those close games because you've never been there before.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're there enough, you're going to win. Example, I went to the Cascade community game last night. When they played early in the year at community, the girls, Cascade was up at halftime. Community pulled away from them in the second half. And I just told the coach, I said, hey, they got to be there. Well, it turned around last night. Last night's the first time since 2018 that Cascade beat community.
Yeah, let's talk about those scores.
48-39, Cascade girls winning. The Cascade boys beat community 60-48. I believe community beat them the first time, right?
Community beat them by 20. Yeah. And both Cascade teams led the duration of, from start to finish. And I'll say this about what I saw last night. The girls' programs at Cascade and community. Cascade played have one senior on their team.
They're young, both of them.
Community has no seniors.
Yeah.
And a very competitive game. Jamie DeMumbrim, the girls' basketball coach at Cascade, has really started bringing that program around. Playing the one senior again, Haley Gill, a few sophomores, Laney Carter, Sophie Ray, whose mother teaches. Her sister played there a few years ago. Lane Clanton, and then two really good sophomores in Kagan Young and Suzanne Craig. They're gonna be good. And I didn't get the names from the community girls, but I think community only played freshmen and sophomores. I think that's the bulk of their team. So that's going to be some really good girls basketball.
Yeah. Well, let's back up and talk about Shelbyville also, Bill, the girls specifically. They started off on fire this year.
Right.
And they have kind of slid now that we got to district. What's going on there? They just hit better competition.
The competition just gets better, and they don't have a lot of depth. I mean, they don't have a lot of depth. They just don't.
And
I think they got 8 girls, I believe is what they got. So if somebody gets sick or somebody gets injured or something, you just don't have a lot of depth.
Their legs get dead.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So
But now Coach Turnham does a heck of a job with them. He really does. He does a really good job coaching.
Yeah, and they still, they can get hot during tournament time and and go. So who knows? What about our games now coming up, Bill? I know community. You were talking about how many games they have.
Yeah, Coach Robbie Davis, my good friend, texted me this morning, and he told me they're going to play 6 games in 11 days now.
There's some dead legs going to be
there. But the District 9A standings he gave me were Cannon County's 3-0, Grundy County's 2-1, Cascade's 2-3. Community's 1-2, and Forest is 1-3. There's a bunch of games to be made up there and to be.
Yeah, well, a lot can change during those 6 games,
right?
Because all of them are district games,
right?
And you got that right there can swing the whole. This week it's going to change everything if somebody gets hot. Well, it's interesting how this is all going to be piling up right here before tournament time, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams hold up physically and then go into a tournament and play. So it's going to be kind of interesting to watch out. But we'll keep everybody up to date on that. We'll be back next week with an up to date report on this past week's.
Talking about the Cascade boys, with Coach Lawson last night, Chris Lawson. It's like we talked about with Sheffield going into the season. They had graduated about everything, so they've had some struggle. He's now finding his combination, and he really feels good where they are right now. They're playing hard, playing a lot of kids, and he feels like they're getting better and peaking at the right time going into tournament. I know he said they go to Forest maybe Tuesday night. But he gave me some names: Isaac McElroy, Saban Burris, and Zach Crosland, seniors that I know watching last night played some pretty good ball. Then a couple of sophomores, Henley Stone and Tyler Rogers, but a couple of freshmen, Wiki Parker and Braxton Burris, that really gave him some good times. So, you know, we'll see. Like you said, got a lot of season left. I think the cream of the crop in that district is Cannon County.
Yeah, that's the way it looks.
They are pretty good.
Bill, what about the Shelbyville Central district? Who do you see coming out on top, girl wise there? Coffee County.
Coffee County, pretty doggone good, well coached.
Pretty good.
They're pretty good, and they have been for a long time.
And boys, do you see Columbia, Tullahoma?
Now, Tullahoma's not in the region, but Columbia, you would think, but Columbia's been struggling here lately. So I think they could be had. I really do.
Is Lawrenceburg in that? Is Lawrenceburg?
Yeah,
I
believe they are.
I don't think so.
Lawrenceburg had been
I
playing
can't
pretty
keep
good.
up with it anymore.
Yeah.
They changed it
just
around quite a bit.
changed
You got
so much.
Spring Hill in there.
Yeah.
And
You've got Coffee County, Warren County's in the district,
And Lincoln County.
and Lincoln County.
And I saw reading some TSSAA stuff because this reclassification's coming in. They're wanting to go back doing 4 years. You know, they last 6 or 7, 8 years, they've done 2-year classifications. Every 2 years they're doing it. They want to go back to doing it every 4 years for just like what we're saying. It's so confusing. You don't know who's where, when, or so they're wanting to go back to doing the classifications on a 4-year term instead of 2-year terms like they're doing right now.
Well, I think that'd be a good move because you do get some normalcy for a little bit of it, a little bit of an extended period instead of just all this every 2 year stuff.
Right.
Well, guys, let's move on.
It'd be nice to me if you could do it in reclassification a way where you take travel into account.
Well, they try to do that
Because it cuts down on your attendance. It raises your expenses.
That it does, but it also makes it harder on some of the smaller teams having to play bigger schools.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've got Miss Helen Raby in there saying good morning to us, and she loves your toboggan. Tony Sanders is already screaming AFC, NFC championship, so he's ready for us to talk about that. We're going to talk a little college basketball.
Yeah, a little college basketball.
We're going to talk a little college basketball
then we'll
first,
get to it.
and then Jim Lofton Graves comes in. They need to go back to 4 years, and that's absolutely right.
Agreed.
Yep.
We agree with that 100%. So let's talk about college basketball. Before we do, let's remember our sponsors once again.
Absolutely.
First Bank of Shelbyville, Kincaid
Service Company
of Shelbyville, and Corner Cleaners of Shelbyville, all right here in the middle of town. First Bank on Madison Street, Kincaid Service Company on the corner of Madison and Dairy Street, and then Corner Cleaners out on North Main. Support our local businesses. We appreciate them for being a sponsor and allowing us to do this show.
And something we've mentioned before, we'll mention it again.
And love to have more sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
If you go to these schools and look on the baseball field, who's got the signs? It's not Lowe's.
No, it's not.
It's not the chain stores. They're not supporting your high schools around here.
No,
it's your local business.
Every one of them.
It's your local business doing it.
That's right. All right, let's shift gears and talk about college basketball just a little bit. Men's, the Tennessee Vols are ranked 5th in the nation in the AP coaches poll right now, and they're the highest ranked 4-loss team in the country.
Played the toughest schedule in America. In America,
3 of those losses came to other top 10s, I believe. If you look back at that time they were playing, they were in the top 10.
Right.
So how do you see Tennessee faring down the road, and who in the SEC is going to give them competition? Auburn. Okay.
Auburn's got a lot of length.
Yep.
Coach Pearl does a heck of a job, and Tennessee's had trouble with Pearl ever since he went to Auburn beating him.
All right, you got Kentucky.
And Kentucky's loaded. I don't know if y'all caught this on ESPN.
They're getting better.
Oh yeah. They
compare Kentucky to Noah's Ark. Calipari's got 2 of everything.
Yeah. He might have 3.
He's got 3 7-footers.
I know. Well, I tell you, Tennessee's 5th, Kentucky's 6th, and Auburn is 8th. So those 3 teams right there are it. But I'm telling you, you better watch Mississippi State.
Yep,
They're a good ball team.
They are a good ball
team.
team.
They beat Tennessee. Coached. Yeah.
Got the coach from Texas.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama beat Auburn the other day.
I couldn't believe that one.
You just can't tell. I mean,
especially on the road.
It's turning into the same thing that football turns into. They beat up each other. They're going to come in with some losses, but when it's tournament time, any of these teams could pop up, and you might see 2 or 3 in the final 8. You never know.
That's right.
What might be special for Tennessee is the Connect kid is special, like we talked about. He can score from anywhere, and it's Allen Houston's the last time I remember a score in Tennessee like him. Now, when you've got all that depth.
Yeah, most versatile player I've seen in a long
Did
time.
Tennessee play Georgia last week or
A couple
something?
of weeks ago.
A couple
at
weeks
Georgia.
ago they did.
Did you? Georgia has got a guy, a boy. He's a freshman that's on their team.
Mariah Lonigan's boy.
Mariah Lonigan's son.
Mhm.
Sure is.
He's playing too.
He's
Yeah,
playing,
he's playing.
as a freshman, coming off the bench and giving them some good time. But
Georgia's getting better too. That's
Yeah.
another team you watch
I
out
was
for.
going to
Pull
say
off an upset.
Mariah
Georgia's pretty good.
Lonigan's son is on that
Yep.
team. So
I believe his name's Try.
I'm not sure what it's not. I'm not sure what is. I was wanting to say something like Kane.
Kane, maybe. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, guys, this is what we want to talk about coming up. Let's shift out of that. Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn, top 3 in the SEC. It's going to be fun to watch
Tennessee's
out.
got Vanderbilt, I think, today in Nashville.
Right. Yeah. So let's shift now. Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about.
Okay.
Bill, we've still got 2 coaches vacancy in the NFL.
Mhm.
You got the Redskins, I'm going to call them. That's what they are.
That's what
Command Skins.
The Command Skins. And then you got
And don't you gotta bet on-
Seattle.
Don't you have to think that Washington's already got their guy? He's Ben Johnson
I
from
think-
Detroit. It's a done deal. They're just waiting
I
for Detroit
think
to be out.
they're
Yeah,
waiting
he's
on
done.
somebody to lose. I think
Yeah.
their pick is still playing. One of the
I think
Well,
it's
it's
Ben
done.
Johnson.
It's done. I don't think you'll even see an interview.
I don't even.
I think
the
it'll be
guy from
announced.
Detroit.
Yeah.
The
Rumor
defensive
has it.
coordinator.
Yes, rumor has it they've already hired the OC for him in advance. That's the rumor that's scuttlebutting around.
Okay.
And also, there's a rumor that Jim Harbaugh is going to put Colin Kaepernick on his staff as a quarterbacks coach
Well, didn't he play for him?
for him at San Francisco. And that's a rumor I saw this morning floating on the internet. Don't know how true it is, but they do have that relationship going back to San Francisco.
I do think Michigan, by the way, did the right thing by giving the interim coach the head coaching job there and doing it fast. That was the way to go.
He did a great
He
job
did.
when he was the head man.
All right, we're competing with a little bit of noise. The roof.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
It's
Hey,
If
I'm
it's
glad
not
it's
snowing,
not.
it's flooding.
Did you realize we had this debate at work the other day? How much, if you melted snow, how much snow does it take to make an inch of rain?
It's 1 to 10. Is what the ratio
right at
is.
12.
Is it 12?
It's right at 12.
1 inch of rain is
It's-
going to be equal to 10, 12 inches, 12 inches of snow.
12 inches of snow,
Yeah.
depending on, the fluffiness,
Right. The temperature and humidity got a lot to do with it. All right.
but right at 10 to 12 inches.
All right. So let's talk about the NFC AFC championship games. We've got
Who gets the Seattle job real quick?
who gets the Seattle job?
I
think they're
it's
still playing right now.
I kind of think it's Dan Quinn.
I think it's Quinn.
It could be.
I think it's Quinn.
It could be. Who have they interviewed?
Quinn.
Have
Quinn.
they interviewed him and that's it?
Yeah, they've had to interview some more.
They're probably
There's a-
they're going to probably throw their name in the hat for Ben Johnson, but he's done. It's over for him. He's going to Washington. That's just
I think
my
they made a
gut.
mistake with Pete Carroll myself because I think Pete Carroll had done a heck of a job
Yeah.
there. Took him to a couple of
I
Super
agree.
Bowls, and I think that was a
Hey.
mistake.
They're doing all this stuff different. This is young gun stuff.
Oh, I know it. Bill Belichick,
It's
Vrabel.
young
What are
gun
they going
stuff.
to do? Belichick's
Young
out, man.
Yeah, he's done.
He is.
He probably won't land another head job.
I don't think he will either. What about Vrabel? I mean, these people like bypassing him. His word got out on what happened at Tennessee, and
I don't
everybody's
know.
scared of him.
Hey,
How do you interview? Do you come
You-
into the door saying I want this,
Yeah.
or do you?
they talk to each other. Those owners
Oh,
talk to
absolutely.
each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
They all know what's going on.
Absolutely. And then you got Jimmy Johnson in there stirring the pot on all of it. Makes it a lot of fun. All right. So we've got San Francisco hosting the Detroit Lions. Guys, I see this. I think it's going to be a good ball game, but I think San Francisco is going to win.
Here's
I'm
the key.
pulling for Detroit.
Here's the
but
key.
I was
San
hoping
Fran.
the Packers would be at Detroit this week.
Yeah.
My son said the only reason they're not is why I'm having to wear the playoff hat again today. If I'd have been there last week with the playoff hat, they'd have pulled it off. But
Debo Samuel's the key to the game. If Debo Samuel plays and doesn't come out with an
Hey.
injury, they'll probably win. But if Debo Samuel, they're not the same team without Debo.
No,
I'm
they're
gonna
not.
tell you,
They're just not.
as much as I like and hope Detroit wins, San Francisco knocked the rust off last week. No, the Packers knocked the rust off of
Yeah.
San Francisco
Yeah.
last week.
They did.
And I think you'll see a different kind of San Francisco team.
And
You
they're
know,
at
they
home.
had been 2 weeks before they had played, since they had played, because they rested their starters week 18. and then they had that round bye. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see San Francisco win this one.
One thing, Bill, and Kenny, I think that is critical is Purdy. It doesn't matter what's happening in the game. He's stable. I mean, he can do a bonehead play, and it don't affect him. Seems like.
I think the weather. I don't know what the weather's going to be, but you take a team like Detroit that's playing in a dome that's always perfect weather. If they get weather like they had last week, how's that going to affect the way Detroit plays?
That's true. Well, I tell you guys something. Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, I think, are the best running back tandem.
And the mentality of that head coach is hard-nosed. This is going to be a hard-hitting football game.
Now, you're saying Gibbs, you're saying we're talking about what was everybody saying about Detroit when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs late in the first round? Oh, they messed up.
I thought it was awesome.
They should have not ever went there.
The first time I saw him carry the ball at Alabama, and he put his foot in the ground and made the cut, I said, this kid is going big in the NFL.
It's got to do with what you need in your program. He may not be a good one for David Thomas. He may not be a good one for Bill Anderson, but he might be a good one for Kenny Parker.
The key for Detroit this year has been that rookie tight end that nobody's talking about.
That
guy is a future star in the National Football League.
He already
is a star.
Yeah, but here's the thing we know about that too. Is these coordinators, these defense, give them a year to figure out what they're doing. We always hear the sophomore jinx, the sophomore slump. That's because these other people figured out what they're doing and how to come back. But I don't disagree. The young man's having a great
Look at all four of these teams that are left. All four of them have really good tight ends.
Yeah.
All four of them.
And the Titans don't even have a tight end, really, a true tight end.
No, all four of these do.
They've got to get that.
Well, there's somebody in this draft that's a real tight end. I'll tell you right now, he's from Georgia.
Yeah.
And that guy's going to be a baller.
Then I'm going to tell you right now, if the Titans draft him, they're making a major mistake because they need an offensive tackle before they need to tie in.
That guy's going to be a star.
All right, Bill, what's the Todd Bobo line on this?
The Todd Bobo line is 7.
All right, I'm gonna say San Francisco wins by 4.
I agree. I take Detroit in the points, but San Francisco to win the close one.
I'll take San Francisco and give you the points.
Okay, so you're saying they're gonna pull away a little bit more.
I think it'll be more than one possession game.
All right, I think it's gonna be one of those where
that's all 7 points is a one possession game.
I think that San Francisco will be in control at the end, and the Detroit Lions won't get a chance. I think they'll pull away at the end and get the ball, and their defense will step up. And I don't know. Who knows? It could be a nail biter where they, one more possession, they get it, and they run out of time.
Right.
One of these, it just comes down to the wire, maybe.
Sure.
But I think San Francisco is going to win by that margin and be not where they're coming down and they got, scuffling around for it to last in. I think it's going to be a little bit more settled at the end of San Francisco.
The AFC game's the one that I think's interesting.
Well, you got the Ravens, man. They've been coming on so strong. I
think your deficiencies with Kansas City are going to come out there all year long. It's really going to come out on the road at Baltimore. This is a game. The Todd Bobo line's 3.5.
Baltimore,
giving the Chiefs 3.5. I'll tell you what. I think this is a 2-possession game.
I do too.
I take Baltimore.
What do you feel like the deficiencies are?
The deficiencies. Mahomes is awesome, but man, when they keep dropping balls and they can't catch it, and they don't have any weapons from other than Kelsey. Well, the first thing Harbaugh's going to do here, Mr. Kelsey's going to get double and triple teamed. That's coming. So someone else other than Kelsey, whether it's the Rice kid or somebody's going to have to beat you. Now, last week it was Valdez-Scantling who drops it all year, starts catching. I just think that's not going to happen here.
All right. Well, Tony Sanders, going back to the Lions game, he throws out Lions. Hey, I'm pulling for the Lions. I hope
I am too.
But
I am too.
I just feel like San Francisco. I like them both, but I just think San Francisco. But on the Baltimore game, I'm taking Baltimore.
I'm taking Baltimore.
I don't think Kansas City's going to go up there and get it.
And honestly, you got to give Mark Andrews, the tight end, will be back, who's been out for weeks and weeks. Give Lamar Jackson some credit here.
He's playing.
He's playing. He's dealing the ball. He's making good decisions. And earlier in the year, they were dropping some balls on him. Now all of a sudden, they're not.
Right.
But again, he can run it, they can run it, but defensively, the difference is the Chiefs are really good on defense too, but Baltimore's good on defense as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the weather's going to look like up there, but I'm assuming all this rain is going to be moving into their area, so they're probably going to be playing in the rain. And who does that favor? I think it favors Baltimore.
I think they're used to playing in that kind of sloppy weather.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City is too. I don't see a big difference about the weather controlling anything. But the difference is, I think that Mahomes just doesn't have the weapons around him he's had in previous years. He's still an awesome, great quarterback. And hey, I don't really matter on winning the game. The guy's too good.
And you notice the defenses are really when the line breaks down and Mahomes gets out of the pocket and roams, they're really shadowing Kelsey very well. And he's not getting open on those freelance plays like he normally does.
But what impressed me with Kansas City the other day when they were playing Buffalo is their ability to run the ball.
Yeah, 10.
You've got to be able to run the ball when it gets cold and these cold, wet, dreary. You got to be able to do that.
Yeah, number 10 is a factor.
Sure.
I can't pronounce.
And Kansas City's defense is Pacheco. Pacheco's a running back, but the defense for Kansas City's no joke. Chris Jones is a stud.
Yeah, he's playing well.
They're really good on defense.
We got Tamara Price. Good morning to David. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Kenny. Watching y'all from the West Coast. Tamara, good to have you in there this morning.
Sure enough.
Absolutely.
Baltimore defense will win. All right.
They're
tough.
I don't disagree.
But I think Lamar Jackson has over 100 yards running the ball.
I could see that as well. He's just such an athlete.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, some of his stuff's designed, but I'm telling you, as being a coach, when you have to defend all 11, and you don't have, you used to, you just had to, you could take 11 to defend 10. Now you got to take 11 and defend 11.
And the difference is before he was running all the time. Now he'll go right up the line of scrimmage and he'll throw it 40 yards on you.
The difference between the rookie Lamar Jackson and today's Lamar Jackson is he's staying in the pocket for a second and a half longer.
Yes.
And he's catching open receivers.
It's this. Yeah. He's learned how to play the pro game.
Second, third read, fourth read.
All right. So we're saying then that we're going to see San Francisco and the Ravens playing in the Super Bowl
again.
All right, and I'm just gonna right out and say it. I think the Ravens go all the way, but I might be wrong, of course. But that's what makes this game fun, What do you say, Bill? Who's going to end up there, and who's going to win?
Let's see who we get there first.
All right, let's go on and pick it now. Come on, go on.
I would probably lean towards the Ravens because in that game, I just think Lamar Jackson's better than Brock Purdy. It comes down to quarterback. That's what I would think.
I go a different way. I think San Francisco will win it all.
And honestly, Tamara Price brings this up. Has Detroit been discussed? Yeah, we have discussed it, and we're pulling for Detroit.
Got that
and I wish they'd win the Super Bowl. They've never had one. Have they ever been this deep in the playoffs?
They've been so long.
Back in the
91.
They
have never been to the Super Bowl.
They have never been to the conference championship.
I think they went one time in 90 or 91 and played Dallas.
Said last week's game, the tickets to get into last week's game was so tough at Detroit that they were just, the price of the tickets was just, and I'm proud for that organization.
Yeah.
And we talked about Dan Campbell all year.
Yeah.
He's the thing about him is he's a good coach, but he's got his players playing
mentality
for him in that tough, and they tackle, they play physical, and that's what he wants.
Yeah. Tamara Price, I'm rooting for Detroit, and I live in 49er country. I think the whole country is pulling for Detroit underlying.
I mean,
there's a lot of people.
The only thing I'm going to ask Kenny about this one, since he's a big Bama guy, that I don't understand. Why has Jameis Williamson not been more of a player for Detroit? Can you explain that to me? Because he was
a Bama guy 1 year, so I don't know what's going on there. He is
physically gifted.
Oh God, he can run. He can run with the wind.
It's just like he's not.
But he was out
suspended 6 games from the gambling,
and that early preseason chemistry that you got. They still put him in and use him to take the top off.
Right, he'll get a shot again. He did one deep shot, but I thought he was really going to be a special player.
And at Alabama, most of his plays were where he took the top off. So, what kind of route runner is he? Yeah. What kind of in the pros? It's not just to be a route runner. You got to see what the defense is giving you, because in this particular play, you may have 3 routes.
Yeah, and that quarterback's
And-
reading one thing, and you read another. It's an interception.
You got to be on the. But if for each defense, for each play, it's called that receiver may have 3 routes he's got to run, depending on what the defense is giving him.
Yeah,
and some people get that quicker than others.
That's true.
Lance David Parker comes in and says, "Snoop Kenny Parker."
That's right.
I got this from Lance. Lance cut my hair.
Did he? All right, guys, let's wind this thing up. We want to thank you guys for watching and participating this morning. If Aaron Parker is out there, we're giving you a big shout out. We know what you're up to this morning. You're out making money. But
tell AJ we said hey.
Yeah. So we're going to wind this down and thank our sponsors once again, Bill. Mm-hmm. We're going to thank Kincaid
Service Company,
First Bank of Shelbyville, and Corner Cleaners out on North Main Street.
And I know I heard through the grapevine that Corner Cleaners took a brunt of this cold weather.
Yeah, they had some pipes and stuff. I think they're back rolling now.
Yes, they are.
Guys, support these local businesses.
Yes.
And then we thank you guys for watching this morning. Be sure to get out and support our local Bedford County teams as they play this week and play a lot. Tamara, thanks for watching out on the West Coast. And all you guys out there.
Tony Sanders, Helen Raven.
Tony Sanders, Helen.
Thank
all
you guys.
You people, thanks. And we appreciate the comments. We'll see you again.